Right now, 4 astronauts are flying around the moon. NASA's Artemis 2 lifted off from Kennedy Space Center on April 1st, 2026.
1. Booster ignition. And liftoff. The crew of Artemis 2 now bound for the moon. Humanity's next great voyage begins.
Carrying Commander Reed Wiseman, pilot Victor Glover, mission specialist Christina Cook, and Canadian astronaut Jeremy Hansen on a 10-day mission around the moon and back. On April 6th, they broke the record for the farthest humans have ever traveled from Earth, reaching 248,655 miles out. But here is what the headlines are not telling you. This mission is not just a return trip. The United States just announced that it is planning to stay. For decades, the moon occupied a strange place in the American imagination. We went there. We planted a flag. We came home. And then, with remarkable speed, we stopped going altogether. After Apollo 17 splashed down in December 1972, no human being left low Earth orbit again for more than 50 years. No permanent presence, no long-term foothold, just memories and moon rock samples sitting in climate-controlled storage rooms. Artemis was always designed to break that pattern. From the beginning, the framing was different. Not flags and footprints, but infrastructure, continuity, and a genuine long-term human presence. The goal was never just to repeat what Apollo did. The goal was to build something that lasts. But what that actually means, in terms of hardware and strategy and dollars, has shifted dramatically in the last few weeks. And understanding that shift means understanding the person who is now driving it.
Our goal is to pursue the secrets of the universe, to change the world in air and space.
At NASA's Ignition event on March 24th, 2026, Administrator Jared Isaacman stood in front of officials from more than 35 countries, members of Congress, and the people who build the hardware, and made the mission explicit. He declared that America will never again give up the moon. This time, the goal is not flags and footprints. This time, the goal is to stay, Isaacman said. That is not motivational language. That is a policy statement. And the program he announced to back it up is structured around $20 billion, dozens of missions, and a permanent surface base. Because what Isaacman is really describing is a geopolitical calculation as much as a scientific one. The moon, for the first time in half a century, is contested territory, and the United States intends to get there, build there, and stay there before anyone else does. To understand how different this approach is, we need to step back and look at what Artemis actually looks like now versus what it looked like even 6 months ago. The original architecture was built around multiple layers of infrastructure, with the Lunar Gateway orbital station sitting at the center of it all as a mandatory staging point for lunar surface missions. That plan involved a large number of interdependent systems, international components, and years of assembly before any sustained human presence on the surface was possible. It was methodical, it was collaborative, and by Isaacman's assessment, it was far too slow. On March 24th, Isaacman announced that NASA is officially pausing the Gateway Station and redirecting the agency's talent, hardware, and resources toward building infrastructure directly on the lunar surface. The message he delivered was pointed. The clock is running in a great power competition, and success or failure will be measured in months, not years. So what replaces it? A 3-phase surface-based plan. Phase 1, running through 2028, focuses on getting to the moon reliably through a significant expansion of robotic lander missions. Phase 2, from 2029 through 2031, begins actual base construction, including communication systems, nuclear power, pressurized rovers, and 2 crewed missions per year. Phase 3, from 2032 onward, transitions to permanent long-duration human presence on the surface. And critically, NASA is not doing any of this alone. SpaceX and Blue Origin are both competing to develop the lunar landers that will carry astronauts down to the surface. Isaacman put contractors on notice directly. Expect uncomfortable action if companies underperform on their contracts. The commercial ecosystem is not just a supporting cast in this version of the plan. It is load-bearing. At the same time, all of this is happening at the moon. Something else is quietly ending closer to home. NASA has committed to fully using and safely operating the International Space Station through 2030, after which it will transition to commercially owned and operated platforms. The station that has hosted continuous human presence since November 2000, the single most expensive object ever constructed, costing more than $150 billion to build and roughly $3 billion per year to operate, is being decommissioned.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? We're about to take this to the next level. Prepare for liftoff.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
NASA has already selected SpaceX to build the vehicle that will deorbit the station, driving it down through the atmosphere for a controlled re-entry over the Pacific Ocean. After 30 years of continuous habitation, one of the most remarkable achievements in the history of human cooperation is coming down. And what replaces it is something the space industry has never seen before, because the next generation of space stations will not be built by governments. They will be built by companies, competing for customers, in what amounts to a commercial real estate market 250 miles above the surface of Earth. NASA has been evaluating proposals from companies, including Vast, Axiom Space, Blue Origin, and several others. The contracts, expected to be awarded between 2026 and 2031, are estimated to total up to $1.5 billion. That is a fraction of what the ISS cost to build. The idea is that commercial competition will drive down costs and drive up capability in ways that a single government-run station never could. NASA is hoping for a 2-year overlap, with commercial stations operational by 2028 and the ISS retired in 2030. Whether that timeline holds is a real question. The NASA Inspector General has already warned that delays are likely, but the direction is set. NASA invested more than $400 million to stimulate the development of commercial space stations, and the agency recently issued a Phase 2 partnership proposal process requiring selected companies to demonstrate stations capable of housing 4 people in orbit for at least 30 days. The transition represents something genuinely historic. For the first time, low Earth orbit is moving from a domain that governments built, funded, and controlled into something closer to a commercial ecosystem, where NASA becomes one customer among many purchasing research time and crew capacity from private operators. Now we can see the full shape of what Isaacman is doing. These two shifts, handing off low Earth orbit to the private sector while pushing NASA's focus deeper into space, are two parts of a single strategy. If commercial stations handle the research and habitation functions that the ISS currently performs, NASA frees up the budget, the personnel, and the political attention to focus on the Moon and eventually Mars. Isaacman put it plainly at Ignition: if NASA concentrates its resources on the objectives of the national space policy, clears away obstacles that impede progress, and unleashes the workforce and industrial might of the nation and its partners, then returning to the Moon and building a base will seem pale in comparison to what the agency will be capable of accomplishing in the years ahead. That is a significant claim, but the architecture behind it is more coherent than anything NASA has presented in a long time. Orbit goes commercial, deep space stays government, with commercial partners doing the heavy lifting on the hardware. When we pull all of this together, something comes into focus that goes well beyond any individual mission. The United States is restructuring who operates in space and how. Government hands off low Earth orbit. The commercial industry builds and runs the stations. NASA points outward. SpaceX and Blue Origin build the landers. International partners contribute surface infrastructure, and the whole system operates at a pace that would have been unimaginable under the old Artemis architecture. The competitive pressure behind all of this is real. China has its own crewed lunar mission targeted for 2030. Isaacman acknowledged directly that China might be early, and recent history suggests the US might be late. That is the honest assessment from the head of NASA, and it explains the urgency running through every decision being made right now. Isaacman framed the moon base as a great power challenge, warning contractors that delays and budget overruns will no longer be tolerated. That is not standard government procurement language. It is the language of someone who understands that the window for establishing a permanent American presence on the moon may be narrower than anyone wants to admit.
This is a live look.
We will see things that no human has ever seen.
We want to know what's out there just beyond the horizon.
Amazing live views from the spacecraft.
Coming back to Earth, say we were doing like 5 or 7 miles. 7 miles a second. Those are just not numbers that humans generally think about.
So, as Artemis 2 finishes its loop around the moon and 4 astronauts prepare for splashdown on April 10th, we should hold 2 things in mind at once. The mission itself is extraordinary, the farthest humans in history, the first crewed deep space mission in over 50 years, a spacecraft named Integrity carrying people around the moon for all of humanity. That matters on its own terms, and it will inspire a generation. But the larger story is what has been set in motion around it. A $20 billion surface base, a commercial handoff of low Earth orbit, a new kind of NASA leadership built for speed and competition rather than institutional caution, and a geopolitical clock running against a rival that is serious about reaching the moon before us. The United States has drawn a line in space. The line says, we are not visiting. We are staying. The question is not whether the ambition is real. The ambition is clearly real. The question is whether everything required to execute it, the budgets, the hardware, the political continuity, and the commercial timelines, all arrive on schedule. That answer will determine not just the next mission. It will determine who shapes the future of space for the rest of this century.